Hi everybody, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk, Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours and YouTube channel Amanda Ellis. Hi and welcome to January 2018. Before I say anything, I'm making this video on the 4th of January 2018. I would like to play a piece of music because I've been told to by my main guide, Archangel Metatron. And it feels as though it's a bit of an anthem for the year. And so I just want you to listen to it. It's about 2 minutes long. And I want you just to sink into its energy, listen to its words, and we will allow in the energy of this year. See if you can guess the tune. Some of you will remember it.
Don't you know, I'm talking about a revolution. Sounds. Don't you know how I'm talking about a revolution sounds like this? While they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds. Every people gonna rise up, get their share. Every people gonna rise up and take what's there. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Talking about a revolution. While they're standing in the welfare line, crying the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion.
Don't you know, you're talking about a revolution. When the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution.
Finally the tables are starting to turn.
Talking about revolution. Talking about revolution. Oh, stunning. That was Tracy Chapman, for those of you that don't know the song. Tracy Chapman talking about a revolution. Came out in, I don't know, I think it came out in the 90s, did it? Don't know what happened to her. She didn't seem to release much after that iconic album. But those words and that energy of that song feels so fitting for all of us as we enter January of this year, 2018. It's going to be a huge year, okay? And the word revolution, it says, don't you know you're talking about a revolution? It sounds like a whisper, but of course it will become much louder as we go through 2018. And it talks about people rising up. Not people rising up in violence, but people rising up in terms of vibration, is the way I'm interpreting it. Rising up in terms of really waking up to what is important in life. Funny, I was talking to somebody this morning and she was asking me, you know, my thoughts for 2018, predictions. And I just said, I feel that it's a year of breakthrough. More than anything, it's a year of breakthrough. So I'm not quite sure what is going to come through in this video. I do know that I'm going to be drawing a few cards for you towards the end from a new deck that arrived yesterday in my house. which which I'll just show you in case I forget to show you. The Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine Reunited, by a lady called Christabel Jessica, who is in Australia. And I ordered these cards from Australia. They've taken a few weeks to arrive to me and then get through customs, but finally they got here yesterday. So I'm definitely going to be pulling some of those. And I've made a few notes, and shall we just see what comes through? Welcome though to the energy of this year and this month. Hope you're all doing well. There's been a lot of illness around, hasn't there, through December, and it seems to be carrying on a little bit into January. But I feel as though there was a massive purge and clearing of old energies around the Christmas time period, which were needed for this big year that we are all entering together. And I say that we're all entering together because it's important to know that you are one of a tribe, one of a whole army of us out there, light workers who are here to make a difference in 2018, and that you are not alone. You are one of many. We are one of many, and our numbers are going to swell, I'm hearing Metatron say, through this year. And those of us that have been around maybe for a while are going to really be helping the newbies, as it were, come through. Everything that we have learnt up to this point in time is going to become increasingly valid and needed by wider society. Okay, so I've just written a few comments down here in a notepad this morning, just when I was thinking about what I was going to say today. And I've written a couple of words trying to sum up what this year feels like. And I've put 2011, as well as a year of breakthrough, is a year of balancing. So breakthrough and balancing. Balancing of the old versus the new. A balancing of the scales of justice. Balancing of karma will continue. But it is very much okay, what I'm also being shown here is actually the world needing to get into physical balance as well. So that probably implies natural events around the world that are going to, I've talked about this before, that are going to tip the scales. I'm talking geophysically here, so land masses changing, new lands arising as well, and it's very much about the new earth coming back into balance, okay, finding its feet. You know, the toddler self, which is the new earth, starting to find its feet and assert its independence, and also very much state that this is the new way forward. You know, what does the new earth mean? What does it look like? Who is upon it? Who do we listen to? What do we let go of? What do we bring in? What new things are there to discover? It's very much about a letting go of the old and a welcoming of the new. A sense as well that many souls will probably leave us through 2018, and that isn't to be feared. It's part of the natural cycle of life, and it is very much to make way for a huge new wave of souls that want to come in. And I'm being told that quite many of them are very old souls that are coming back, reincarnating back into the planet this year, to bring back the ancient skills, the ancient knowledge, but also the codes that we need. There are also, I'm hearing, children to be born that are coming back from the future, which is a real mind bender, you know. But we've got some that are going to be incarnating in 2018 that are old souls who come from all of the ancient civilizations, but we've also got ones who are going to be born in 2018 and going forward over the next few years who are coming back from the future. That will be very interesting to see, and that's going to be quite a challenge for some of the parents that they're born to as well, because they are not going to want to live by the old rules. The old rules won't work. We've seen this many times before with the crystal children and the indigo kids, but it's going to be even more exaggerated with these new kids that are coming in. But it will all be fine because it's all been orchestrated from above. The divine has orchestrated it, and the right children will come to the right families who have the right skills, even if they are latent. And I'm hearing that many of you have got latent skills that this year is going to bring out, hence the year of breakthrough. The year of breakthrough. Another thing that I've written here, which came to me this morning, is Metatron, Archangel Metatron, is talking about the need for all of us to let go of a sense of entitlement. And this has been very prevalent over the last few decades in particular. It's unfortunately a modern day phenomenon. If you look back in a few decades ago, talking really about, I suppose, certainly pre-war years, but also the years immediately following the world wars, the 1950s, there wasn't this sense of entitlement that we have now in 2018. And it's really held us back, is what I'm hearing. A sense of entitlement to things that don't actually bring the long-term pleasure, the long-term satisfaction. And a sense of entitlement should not be linked into the material world, the material goods, the material riches. It should more be linked into having a sense of entitlement to softer qualities, but just as important qualities such as love, such as the new empathic gifts that we all are entitled to receive, telepathy, clairvoyance, clairaudience, being able to connect to spirit, but letting go of a sense of entitlement that I deserve something without necessarily having worked for it, strived for it, or even put my hand up for it. I think we see it a lot, particularly in the younger generation. And I think we have to sink into compassion when we do see it. I see it in my own family, you know, within my oldest teenager in particular, who has got a sense of entitlement, and I haven't fostered that within her. It just seems to be something that she's come in with, but she needs to heal that. So, you know, the sense that at 18 you just leave the family home and you get you get a new car, and you get, you know, somehow you get a flat and you move and you get the job and everything's hunky-dory. Maybe it's a reaction to a generation or a couple of generations that have grown up having been told that they can get whatever they want materially, I'm talking here. And it's as though Metatron is saying people have been going about it the wrong way, because everything is available to all, but it has to come through the heart. It has to come from the right place. It has to be for the highest good. So we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at letting go of a sense of entitlement to many things. I'm just going to leave that in the air because it might be something I come back to. I'm also hearing that it's a year of reunion for many souls that have been separated, and this is love unions, whether you call them soulmates, twin flames. A year of reunion that is coming up. Again, if you look at the number 11, and this year is numerologically an 11 year. If you add up the digits of 2018, you get to 11. And 11 effectively is the two pillars. And you can interpret the two pillars of 11 in many, many different ways. I've talked a lot about it being a gateway or a portal. It's linked into duality as well, light and dark. But it also, to me, has always represented two beings facing each other. And what I'm being told is that some people who are meant to be together have actually been standing away from each other, you know, so they haven't been facing each other and coming back into union. They've actually been not even searching for each other necessarily, but many are going to be turning around and seeing who they really are meant to be with, and there will just be this magnetic draw. I'm choking as I'm saying it. There will be this magnetic draw back together. feels very, very strong. I can feel the energy in my hands. So there's also that going on. I've also got two other energies, I suppose, which are just coming in right at the start of 2018. One links to diet. Many of you already are on, and when I'm saying diet, I'm not talking about losing weight. I'm talking about honouring what it is that you're eating, what you're putting into your body. It's going to continue in terms of people becoming much more aware about the consciousness of food, and the need to also bless food as well, to be grateful for food, to not take food for granted, to think about where your food comes from, to think about whether it's animal-based or plant-based, how whatever you are eating has got onto your dish, whether it's full of antibiotics or pesticides or chemicals. And without, again, going into fear on all that, just becoming much more conscious in your choices in terms of what you eat, you become, okay? So I think more guidance will come on the whole area of diet through 2018, increasingly from spirit. Also linked into that, I've just written the word animals down. Not necessarily linked into diet here, but I'm feeling very much that the animals are wanting to teach us and show us the way forward, and also needing us to respect the fact that they are also part of this ascension journey. And some of them are, I'm hearing, are behind us in terms of waking up, and some of them are way ahead of us. So again, very much like human society, there are members within human society who are very awake, very enlightened, and there are also members of the human race who are completely unawake. So too, that holds true of some of the animal kingdom as well. And I just had a little confirmation there coming on, going, did you hear that beep? It was just like beep. And what I was thinking about actually was the zebra in particular was coming into my mind because of the black and white stripes. I wonder what the zebra means in terms of animal totem. Might just quickly look that up, but I'm seeing the zebra as something, there's a message for us from the zebra. So should we just have a quick look at what that is? Here's my book. That was to hand, wasn't it? I've had a clear out over Christmas, so I've got rid of a lot of things that I didn't feel I needed anymore. Has this book got a index? Let me just pause the camera for one moment. I find it hard to believe that this great big book hasn't got the zebra in it, but it's not in the index. But anyway, fortunately, Stephen Farmer has the zebra within his animal cards, and this is the message that goes with zebra. So zebra's coming through the message for us right at the start of 2018, and it says this: let go of your fear and know that you are safe and protected at all times. It says whenever you venture into unfamiliar territory, it's quite natural to feel some trepidation. Your mind can create all sorts of scenarios as to what can go wrong. Doubts and uncertainties may arise, and the path can seem fraught with challenge and sometimes even danger. You may find yourself stuck at times, fearful about moving ahead. Yet much of what we label as fear isn't actually fear. True fear is a vital, instinctual response to any life-threatening situation, and is triggered not only by circumstances or events, but even more so by what you think about those circumstances or events. And it talks about whenever you feel an exaggerated sense of fear, triggered mainly by your thoughts, one that has little or no basis in reality, take a few slow, deep breaths, call upon Spirit, who have provided their guidance and protection before. Reach out to other people for guidance and for reassurance to help you feel grounded and centered, and recall those times in the past when you did feel frightened or were endangered and did not only survive but came through intact. You can also relabel fear and instead call it excitement, as the two emotions are very similar in the way they manifest in the body. I think that's really good guidance coming through from the zebra as an animal here. And that last point about excitement and fear being very closely linked is so true. And I always remember that myself if ever I get very fearful. In the early days when I used to do public speaking, I used to be really terrified. And I would always try and turn that sheer terror into excitement, because actually they are so closely linked. And because if you think about fear, it's that awful churning feeling in the stomach, sense of butterflies, feeling as though you're almost about to be sick, feeling a bit sweaty. But excitement can feel exactly the same way. So if you just flip it over in your mind and actually think, okay, taking public speaking as an example, no, I'm not terrified, I'm actually quite excited and I actually really want to do this. This is why I'm actually feeling as I do. It changes the whole scenario. So the zebra there coming through with quite a good message for us. And we need that because, as I say, this year is one where we are asked to step out of our comfort zone, do things in a different way, grow into who we are really here to be. And we will be asked to look at both the light and the dark within ourselves as well, our shadow side and our light side, and again, learn how to balance the two. These are big themes that we'll come back to. I think I'd like to draw some cards at this point. So, before I do that, I want to show you two colours. I was just talking about the light and the dark. Now, you know that I trained as a colour therapy teacher within the system of colour mirrors, okay? And this is the colour mirrors bottle, which is number 11, okay? And number 11 is this colour of dark magenta over clear. And it was always sort of referred to as the Metatron bottle, you know? And this is the equivalent one within Aura Soma, okay? So two similar colour systems. Quite interesting, isn't it, that colour mirrors have got the black on, or the dark colour on top, the clear on the bottom, and Aura Soma have got it the other way around. So it's like perfect balance going on here. Even the shapes, you know, are very much in contrast to each other. But yet actually they hold quite a similar vibration. This is also the Archangel Metatron bottle. So Metatron is the energy that's going to help us through this year. I mean, he helps us through every year, but this is very much his year. And he doesn't want anybody to be afraid. He doesn't want anybody to be concerned, even though there are big things to happen this year, because, you know, his energy is vast and he is able to help and support and guide all who need him and is here for us. So I'm just going to put those two colour energies down. And let's shuffle these cards now. Let's see what Archangel Metatron, let's just start with one and then we might build up to 3 or 4, see how many we want. So, January 2018, collective message, please. Thought that one might come up. Fear. Look at that. What we were just talking about, fear. Biting the nails, you know, abject fear, abject terror, cowering, wanting to pull the duvet over the head. On the bottom of the deck, we have this card which says Transcendence. Excuse my horrible nails, by the way, half of them have fallen off. I haven't had time to sort it out yet, so fear, and being able to transcend that fear. Let's take one more. Let's take the next one off the top. We've got the card of openness. I actually want to say something completely different to maybe what the creator of this deck meant by these cards, because I'm really struck by that image of two men, a gay relationship. Okay, out in the open, not hiding. There's something coming through here about sexual equality, being able to transcend the fears of past generations who've had to hide away through fear of shame or being discovered or being found out or being judged. That's one interpretation. I like the two men standing there in union with each other, out in the open, in a loving relationship. But I also am interpreting this as the divine male, two divine males who are able to stand, take sexuality out of it now for one moment, who are able to stand and just honour each other, who are able to honour the divine feminine within themselves as well. And it feels as though I want to put this card here, this card of fear, actually feels as though this is the old patriarchal male energy that knows the game is up. The game is up, okay? It's over. And it's like, I don't know how to operate anymore in this world. I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what's expected of me. I don't know what I can do, what is allowed, how I'm supposed to behave. And it's going to take some brave souls, some brave men to step forward to show the way for wider society. But absolutely, all of that can be transcended. Yeah. That's a very specific message, those three cards. I'm going to put those down and I'm going to shuffle again. Beautiful. Wasn't expecting that to come through, but it's perfect. Look, even this deck of cards, can you see this is the picture on the, you know, it's the cover picture for all of them. Can you see how perfect that is? I was just showing you these colours. I was just showing you the same colours. Effectively black and white. It's exactly what we've got on the front here. And actually, before I even draw a card, I just want to show you the image. Let's just look at the image that's been chosen here. It's a woman, and she has balanced her light and her dark. She is comfortable in who she is. She's bearing her soul, as well as her breast, but again, it sort of links into sexuality. Right, let's have three more then from this deck. I don't even know what all these cards are in here, so it's a bit of a surprise for me as well. Three cards Metatron, please, for people watching. What is the message? The goddess of love, Hathor. Mary Magdalene, the goddess of strength. And selfhood. Let's take one at a time. Hathor, in this deck, can you see the number? Number 11. And there she is, very seductive, the goddess of love. Right next to the energy of Mary Magdalene. And interesting because I'm making a Mary Magdalene aura spray, and Tracy created the first version. We have lots of different versions, we test them out, and the first version isn't quite right, which is fine. It's what often happens, and you just refine it and you change it. And in fact, there was one particular essential oil for Mary Magdalene which I heard she wanted in her spray, and that's tuberose. But anyway, that's beside the point, because the feedback I gave Tracy today was the first spray that's been created isn't, for want of a better word, sensual enough. There is a sensuality, there is a seductive quality to these two images, these two powerful women. Which I guess again comes into the whole thing about the suppression of female sexuality over the years as well. Not so much maybe necessarily in some cultures, not necessarily in the UK or the USA, but in other places around the world, Middle East, we take for granted a lot of the time the fact that we are as liberated as we are in some countries, and other women are really struggling to assert themselves and become free. So there is just these two women together I just find very interesting. And again, they both are linked to the red energy, base chakra. I want to read the message that goes particularly with Hathor, the goddess of love, card number 11. Let's see what the message is for her. Egyptian energy, I think, if I'm right. And if I am right, the Egyptian energy is coming through very, very strongly at the moment. Here we go. Let me put her card up so you can see. Okay, Hathor. Hello. I would like to speak to you today about the liberated feminine with an insatiable appetite for all things in life. As you have heard my sister goddesses say, the feminine has been deeply repressed and stripped of her power. What I would like to speak to you about today is the feminine that is in her power and in a state of allowing her energies to run free. The feminine in her power fully expresses her desires for life. Unashamedly, a love of food, a love of sex, an appetite for deeply sensual experiences for her own pleasure and the pleasure of her beloved. The wild, sensual woman, tapped into her appetite, enjoys the present moment with such zest that it's as if she is making love to life itself. She allows herself to feel the pleasure of the things she loves the most. Every delicious bite of her favourite decadent dessert, the sensuality of moving her body to the rhythm of her favourite song, the feel of the sun warming her body, the feel of lush green grass under her feet. She enjoys the exquisite sensations of the hot bolt of liquid, energy flowing between her and her beloved. She deeply feels the mesmerizing ecstasy of passionate, sacred sex. What can you do right now to tap into the love you can feel in such ways every day? Allow your feminine energy to be liberated in the ways that feel right for you. Whoa, okay. There's quite a powerful message that just came through there. I was just talking about sensuality and seductiveness. I put it in a slightly softer way, but you've heard the message that's coming through with Hathor here. And right next to Mary Magdalene, the one who was repressed, who was written out of the Gospels, apart from in a few little lines and a few little roles that she was given. She had a much bigger role than that. There's much more to come on the Mary Magdalene energy through 2018. I'm going to be talking about that a lot more. But here we've got it linked to Hathor. And the third card here shows a much more modern woman, okay? Much more modern woman that you can probably just relate to. If you're a woman, that could be you just sitting in a cafe having a cup of coffee. If you're a man, you'll see women like this all the time just down the street having in a restaurant. But this shows a woman who has come out. There's a thing here. I want to bring this card up as well. There's a thing here about just coming out into the open, you know, coming out into the open and showing the world who you are, who you really are, what you really want, what gives you pleasure. And that word pleasure as well, interesting, because it's a bit like the word money, you know. In spiritual circles, there's been a lot of work done over, you know, the last decade, I suppose, in trying to remove the tainted quality that a lot of spiritual people feel to money, that money somehow is dirty, or money is something that you shouldn't have if you are spiritual, or you shouldn't ask for money, you know. It goes back to lifetimes where, you know, we had to basically give vows of obedience and chastity and poverty. You don't have to do that anymore. Money is just as much a part of the beautiful spiritual energy and the ascension energy as anything else. And so too is pleasure. You know, if you think about the word pleasure, again, that's got a slightly tainted quality to it. It feels as though there is decadence that has been put with it. that somehow, you know, again, to be spiritual but also to want pleasure in whatever shape or form that takes is wrong. And I feel as though, again, the Magdalene energy and the Hathor energy is coming through here and saying, no, we want you to be happy. We want you to be joyful. We want you to be satisfied. Again, talking about sex, you know, the body, it's one of the gifts, it's one of the things that has been given to you to make you feel joyful. You know, enlightenment is all about joy. The whole subject of sacred sex as well will be coming up through 2018. Again, very much as a reaction against what we see out there in wider society, which has been the I'm hearing the word from Metatron, the degradation of sexuality, the cheapening of sexuality, sexuality becoming a commodity. And we're going to be stepping back much more into the arena of sacred sex. And it doesn't mean that everyone has to be having that. It's almost as though that's what you are aspiring to, but it's as though meaningless sex, one night stands, you know, just having sex because you think you should be having sex, feels as though that is going to become a lesser need in some, and the desire for sacred sex between you and somebody that you are very much linked with at all levels of being, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, is key. And this beautiful energy, Magdalene, with the energy of Christ, is going to teach us. Look forward to that. Right, powerful cards, aren't they? Let's pull two more. I think we've got 6 so far. Let's pull 2 more cards. They're all falling out now. Okay, we've got the card of balance. I was saying 2018 is a year where we need to come back into balance, find our balance. It's a nice depiction of it there, isn't it? And we've got another goddess energy here, the goddess of wisdom, Athena. Actually, these cards are both number 4. They both have the vibration of 4. And 4 to me always feels, although it's also about linked into, you know, building a solid foundation, and obviously it's the square, isn't it? It's also linked into the planet Uranus. So it's that revolutionary feel that we started with Tracy Chapman. Athena, goddess of wisdom, what does she want to say to us? I'm just looking at the card and I'm just seeing that she's standing before an ancient scroll. Can you see that? She's standing before an ancient scroll. And it's almost as though I feel the message coming through here is that we are going to be given permission to look at and to hear and to see and to read ancient scripts that have been denied to us for many, many generations. And this may be linked into revelations, linked into the crystal skulls. Yesterday I did a reading with somebody where the emerald tablets from Thoth came up through as wanting to be rediscovered. Metatron obviously himself has had a lifetime as Enoch, and there are lost books of Enoch. But again, it's not going through dusty libraries and, you know, having to go through great tomes of literature, because let's be honest, none of us have really got the time for that. It's even, and also the Magdalene energy as well, you know, what actually is written about her. There are things written about her that have been suppressed, and I'm hearing the Catholic Church, there are things that they have, stories that they have, there is much more that is to be discovered. And I'm hearing that it will come about through the destruction of some of these old institutions. The church isn't going to fall away per se, but I'm being shown the analogy of a jail, effectively, and it's as though society, humanity is rattling the bars of the jail, and it's shaking up these institutions, and by nature, by shaking them, things are falling off shelves. Things are loosening up, and I'm hearing that there are some scriptures, there are some documents that are to be revealed. And there are some key people who are going to help to bring this about. Disclosure, of course, is the other one. So wisdom, so much more for us to understand this year in 2018. So I'm sitting here now and I'm just thinking, okay, where do I go now, Metatron? What am I supposed to be doing in this video? And he's saying to me, not to worry. He's saying what I'm doing, what we are doing together, is we are just opening up. It's almost like we're opening up a show. We're opening up, it's as though we're about to see a play, and it's as though this is the opening number, which is setting the scene for the year ahead. He's wanting me to spray this orange flame energy now, and I'm just going to see what comes through. But I don't, yeah, okay, let's just see what comes through, trust. So the curtain rises. The people are in the seats. They have an expectation and a sense of entitlement that they have paid their money and that the show will be a certain way, with certain lead characters who are well known, who come on at certain times and play a certain role in the play. And the play is 2018. Metatron is saying wipe that from your mind. Because what you think you have signed up for, what you think you are sitting there, all of us are sitting, waiting to see, is not what is going to happen. There are pockets of complete surprise through 2018, both personally and collectively. Some of the people that you feel have been the lead role up to now will be leaving the stage. And I'm seeing a few world leaders, but I don't really want to mention names because it doesn't feel right, because it feels a couple will pass over. And a couple are going to be very sorely missed. And all I will say is I'm seeing the royal family in the UK, so you can gather what I'm saying probably. There are people, let's take this away from royal family UK now, there are people on the world stage who will either be removed from office or taken away or remove themselves, or something happens to them, whereby the understudy has to come in and perform the main role. Some of these people you will not have heard of, but the understudy is to be respected because they have watched from the wings and observed what the role requires and where the person who was within that role has gone wrong and what needs to be improved. Now I'm going to specifically ask about Donald Trump now and the situation in America. Donald Trump. Oh God, I can't say that. I have to say that. I'm going to draw a card. I don't want to say what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing death, by the way. It just feels rude to say what I'm seeing, but you're going to want to hear me say it now, aren't you? I'm being shown a pile of manure. I'm sorry, that's what I'm being shown. And it's steaming, and it's got a fork in it. It's like we're on the farm. There is this great big pile of manure with a fork in it, and it's steaming. And it represents all of the sorry to swear, for want of a better word, for all of the crap that has come up from the underbelly of society, which isn't just about one man. He was there to do a job, and he did it well, to bring up from the underbelly of society in the USA some of the prejudices, some of the hatred, some of the bigotry, some of the narrow-mindedness, some of the ego, and he did that job well. I just want to put myself into his shoes for one moment. I just want to put myself into his shoes and feel how he's feeling. Lead boots. Lead boots. This guy's not in a good place. I actually feel some compassion for him in my heart. I feel a lot of compassion in him for my heart. Take away the circus, take away the drama, take away the soap opera. There's a human being underneath all of this who didn't realise what he was signing up for, whose health is letting him down. Being drawn to his eyes. Being drawn to his eyes. He sees red. Blood pressure. Dangerously high blood pressure. I don't want to sit in his energy anymore, so I'll have to take myself away from that. Just going to clear myself. Pull a card for him. In a way though, going into an 11 year, he's sort of the character I would expect to see, because he represents polarity. He pulls people, you have a strong opinion of him. You either love him or you hate him. There isn't a lot of middle ground with Trump. And that's how he sees the world. He sees the world in very dualistic ways. This is right, that is wrong. There's no middle ground. So in a slightly strange way, it's a perfect fit, but it's not comfortable. And the most important thing, it's not comfortable for him either. Might not be comfortable for the American people, but it's not comfortable for him. Trump. Trump. Look at the card that comes out for him. Bright red energy, which I would expect to see. On a horse. The god of battle. The god of battle. War-like. Ars. I don't know if you pronounce it like that. A-R-E-S. Doesn't mean anything to me as a god, but let's just let's see what it says. Quite intrigued now. God of battle. That's how he comes out. Number 6. Oh, wow. Remember what we were talking about at the beginning? About the arrival of the divine male? But to get to that, you have to let go of the old wounded masculine. This is Trump. This is what the card says. It says, hello, I am present with you today to talk about a sector of the wounded masculine. A part of the masculine that warped from his innate inner qualities surrounding action and protectiveness. What I am referring to is the part of the masculine's heart that went to war and is still yet to return. Due to the rise of religion and war and the fall of consciousness, many battles have been fought and the subsequent effects have been immense. When the masculine left his feminine at home to go to war, he did so with the intent to protect and serve her and his community. In order to do this, he had to detach from his tender heart. Consequently, he did such a great job of this that a part of his heart is still hardened. Can you see this occurring around you? As mirrored opposites, two halves of a whole, every wounding that the masculine has, the feminine has a wound to match. The feminine who waited for the masculine to return has had a piece of her nurturing twisted into a sense of desperation. These are the wounds that are prevalent in your time, being pulled up to the surface to be triggered and worked through and therefore resolved. They are presenting themselves to be transmuted. All is in order. All is in the highest good of all. So we have here the man who went to war, into battle, who had to harden his heart, and who hasn't been able to retrieve it yet. In a year of duality, Donald Trump is the perfect contrast to this. The divine male that wants to come in. The beautiful goddess energies that want to come in. But to get to that place, we need balance. He is doing the job that he was meant to do. In a 2018 year, in an 11 year, you are not going to be able to make sense of things unless you are able to start to see them from a higher perspective and understand the energies from a higher perspective. And the situation here is a classic case in point. Let's close the video with what Archangel Sandalphon might like to say to us as the opening act. Sandalphon. I was thinking, where the hell is he? It's like, where's he gone? I couldn't feel him. And then he said to me, no, that's right. Because in a year that can be quite heavy, if we allow it to be, we can lose what Sandalphon stands for, because he's the perfect contrast to Metatron, which is about we have to also remember to dance. We have to remember to sing. We have to remember to be light. We have to remember to have humour. We have to remember to smile. You know? It was like, where's he gone? Well, it's like that heavy energy had pushed him away. Of course, he wasn't anywhere, really. He was still here. But again, he's reminding us back to the card of balance. In a year, collectively and personally, where there's going to be some challenge, make sure you create the time and the space in your own life for the brightness, the joy, the happiness, the fun times, to counter everything else. Let's bring in Archangel Jophiel. The sunshine. The sunshine always follows the rain. And although there may be a lot of metaphoric rain through this year, there will also be a corresponding equal amount of sun. Do you know, it's the little things in life that actually can nurture your heart and lift you. I'm looking down because I'm in my office, but for some reason I've got my daughter's hamster in the room. It's just in a little cage down there, and it's come out and it's just nibbling on a little, fruit stick that's hanging down, and it's the dearest little thing, and such a tiny little creature, and I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking, oh, because in this moment, despite anything else I've just said, that hamster's just caught my heart. It's the little things. The little things are the important things. Know that Spirit is watching over this year. It's watching over us collectively, and it will be watching over us personally in our own lives as well. I'll do another video within the next few days on a personal forecast for the year ahead. But as I say, that was just an opener, some of the themes that wanted to come through today. I send you lots of love, and I wish you good fortune in 2018, and keep the angels beside you and you won't go far wrong. Much love. Bye-bye.